Hi everybody and welcome back. So today we're going to be looking at the Expromizer TCX by Exvape. This is an RDTA, very similar to some that have come out. It is a mesh RDTA. It does have steel rods in it. It's got a little bit of differences to it, but I did want to go ahead and bring it to you. This is designed in Germany, which is very exciting for me because like the Brunhild and things like that were really awesome. I really loved those addies. I'm very excited to bring this to you. Now for this, it does hold 7 mils of e-liquid and it is a 25 millimeter atomizer, and it's got a top airflow, but it's kind of like angled, and it's got like a direct lung, but a little semi-restricted direct lung. So you're not going to get massive airflow, which I found out a lot of you don't really like a lot of airflow. So I think that's great. So let's go ahead and go down. I'm going to show you this thing all up close. We're going to put a build on it. I'm going to show you the different coils that they offer at Exvape, as well as their cotton and things like that. So let's go ahead and go down. We're going to take a look at it, and then we're going to come back up and we're going to vape it. So let's go look at the Expromizer TCX by Exvape. We are with the Expromizer TCX by Exvape. This is the sample packaging that it comes in. I do have the sample. This is the pre-production. You've got your scratch off authenticity. On the back, it's going to give some information that you might not understand. And the reason for this is because it's designed in Germany. Very excited for this. This is actually by Exvape. So it's got some warnings, it's got some kit inclusions right there, and then you're going to go ahead and open it up. Now this does come in 5 different colors. I do have the brushed stainless steel, the booklet that it comes in, and for the first time the English language is not the first language, so I think that that's great. You actually have to go to page 14 for the English language, but this is again designed in Germany. So it starts on page 14. You've got some specifications that are also in this booklet. It shows you how to take it all apart. It tells you about the liquid. It tells you all the kit contents, and then you've got some key features right there. You're going to get a couple of mesh coils. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then you're going to get a baggie here. Now this baggie I do want to explain to you because it's got something neat in it that I'm going to have to show you how to use in a little bit. So in addition to some cotton, we've actually got some O-rings. You've got your coil rounding tool because this is a mesh RDTA. And then in addition to extra screws, you're actually going to get these little plugs. Okay, you're going to get these extra plugs. You're actually going to get 2. And I'm going to show you why in just a few minutes, but I did want to mention that right away. Now, for this RDTA, this is a 25 millimeter RTA, again, designed in Germany. It does say Exvape right here. You've got the EX logo right there. It's got it here. This is, of course, the glass tank part. On the top, you do have a removable 810. It is a pain to remove, but it is a very wide bore 810. You can use any 810s you want. It does have top airflow. It's actually got 6 1.5 millimeter holes, and you can actually cut it down or open it up. In addition to that, on this part here, this is actually going to be your top. This is the airflow control. And one thing I want to make note of is that these holes right here, if you look carefully, the holes are actually angled down. They're in an angle. So the airflow is actually angling down, which I think is great. So you've got that angle to it. It does have 2 O-rings. I do suggest lubing it up when you get it by putting a little bit of e-liquid because it can be stiff when you first get it. The next piece here is your top piece right there. And that's what that looks like. If you notice, it does have a hole here. It's got a side fill, which I really like. And then that is the inside of the dome or the actual chamber. And that's what that looks like. In addition to that, you've actually got indications on here. Now, when the arrow is actually indicated right here on this dot, that means that the airflow is lined up with your coils. This right here is actually your fill. So you would just turn it until you get to the fill portion. And then it has like that duckbill type of fill, which I personally like because of that way the liquid doesn't come back out and it just opens up as you're putting in your e-liquid. Now I do suggest going ahead and filling it like this with the top cap on, not with it off, because if you're trying to do it with this top piece off, this does have a habit of coming out when you're pulling your bottle out. And they don't provide an extra one of these. So be very wary of that. Now, if you're using it with this already on it, of course, that's holding it in place. It's not going to pop out at all and you don't have to worry about it. So that little indicator is actually for your fill as well. Once you're done filling it, you want to turn it to where you get the arrow, and that way your coils are lined up with your airflow. As you can see from the bottom, you get some of the stainless steel rods, but if you notice, there's 6. There's actually 6 of these. This is where I was going to show you where that plug comes in, which I'll show you in just a second once I take this out. Let's go ahead and take that piece out. Now, as I said, this is a pre-production model. They're going to be taking some of the tweaks out of it. One of the tweaks that I'm thinking that they're going to be doing is this O-ring does come out very, very easily. They do need to go ahead and make a bigger one that fits more smoothly, but I haven't had any issues while testing it. But anyway, you get 6 of these rods. So they do come with it just like this. You can take them out from the top or the bottom, and there's 6. Now, for whatever reason you don't want all 6 rods, you can actually put your plug in and put that in, and that's going to plug up your hole. So I think that's great that they offer that, but for me, I really do like it with the 6 rods in it. I feel like it really wicks really nice and efficiently, so it doesn't bother me. But if you were to decide to do that, you can. I'm just going to take these rods out because I do like to put them in from the top. Now this glass, of course, does come out. There is no spare glass in it. And, but with this cage, it should be fine. And then all you're going to do is just put this back on like this and then screw it down. And it screws on really nice. The threading on this and the machining is absolutely amazing. Absolutely love it. And then all you need to do is just go ahead and put your steel rods in. Now you want to be careful that you're not using, putting too much touchy-feely on your rods. You want to do that minimally because that way you're not getting any like grease or oils or anything on the stainless steel rods. I have already washed mine and got all cleaned up for this review. And they just drop in just like that. And this actually has 6. So it's got 2 more rods to actually pull up that e-liquid so that it'll wick efficiently. And then just put them all in, and there they are. And there they are right there. Now, on this deck, this is primarily a mesh deck, and it does have that ceramic plate, very much like the Profile RDA, the Profile 1.5 RDA, the Profile RTA, the Profile Unity RTA, and the new Profile RDTA. So very the same type of method. You're going to be putting your cotton in, and this is going to push it up. On the sides, you do have Phillips screws on both sides, and when you open them up, they do open up really nice and smooth. So we'll go ahead and open that up, and you can see they open up really nice. So yeah, if you want, you can use regular coils as well, like a single regular coil using the same method, putting your coil leg here and one here. I much prefer this RDTA as a mesh RDTA. I'm not a fan of this as like a regular coil RDTA, but it can be done for those of you out there that like it, but you don't want to use mesh. So I did want to mention that. It does come with 2 mesh strips. It doesn't have the information in the booklet or here, but what they are is actually made of Kanthal, and they're made of Kanthal. They do ohm out at a 0.20, and they are, the wattage recommendation is 40 to 60 watts. This is the same actual mesh that they provide you. So they do provide you 2. Now, they do sell additional mesh for this. So, and you can use any type of other mesh as well. You don't necessarily have to use these. They also have the Kanthal 0.15 ohm resistance coil. This one's good between 50 to 70 watts. And this one is like a dual mesh. And then you do have these, which are the Nichrome 80.18 ohm resistance mesh coils. These are good between 45 to 70, and they just have like a bigger mesh opening. So we're actually going to put this one in so that you can see it. So we're going to go ahead and use that one. Yeah, in addition to that, they do sell their own cottons, very similar to like the cotton threads that Wotofo has. So we can actually go ahead and use one of theirs as well. You do know that I do like to use cotton squares That's my preferred method, but they do have the ones with the anglets available as well. So I think that's great. So that is what, just one. So that is what the dual mesh looks like. I think that's really great. I really like that. So we'll go ahead and use that one. Okay, so we've got the up close view right here. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and unscrew the screws here. That one I already have done. Let me go ahead and do this one. And they come out really, really nice. So you've got that space right there to drop in your coils. And then again, they do give you the coil rounding tool. So all you need to do is take your tool, take your mesh. You're going to put it where the groove is and just bend it over and just turn it a little bit. That's all I do. And then it's all rounded. All you need to do then is just go ahead and slip it into your deck. We got one there. We'll go ahead and put this one in here. I like to use the ceramic tweezers. That way I'm not scratching or anything. So I'm just going to lightly hold it down and screw the screws in. And then let's go ahead and do the other one. Again, just holding it lightly. And there we go. And there it is. And don't you hate it when you run out of battery? My mod was low, so I did have to go ahead and switch that out for this one, which is not bothering me at all. So let's go ahead and reduce that. Yeah, not having any battery sucks. Okay, so there we go. That's 17 watts and it's heating up really, really beautifully. And yeah, so all we have to do now is just wick this baby up. Now again, they do provide the anglets. I do prefer to use cotton squares when I'm doing my mesh, but I'm gonna go ahead and try out their cotton, being that this is something that they sent me, so might as well, right? Free cotton. So what you're gonna do is always, whenever you're putting it through, this is for any kind of coil, not just mesh. You always wanna pull from both ends and it thins out underneath the coil so that you're not stressing out your coil. So I'm actually gonna pull from both ends. And as you can see, when you do that, it's not going to mess with the coil. It's actually pulling really, really nice in it. This off here. And we'll cut off this off here. We're going to be thinning it out anyways, so don't worry about that. Now what I'm going to do is just lift it up like this. Lift it up. Make it like a bow tie. And I'm actually going to be cutting it from the bottom here. This is the way that I do it. I just prefer it that way. Okay, take off some of the bottom right there. We'll do the same thing to this side. And just at an angle down. That's the way that I like to do it. I'll take that off. And then what I'm going to do is take my tweezers and I'm going to go ahead and fluff that out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that the cotton is only long enough to lay in the wicking channel. You do not need to stuff it, you just need it to lay there, which is why I thin out a lot of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it here and then cut it here. And then all we need to do is just lay it in the wicking channel just like this. That's all you need to do. You don't need to stuff it. Just lay that in just like that. And then lay this one in. Okay. So we've got that side in, we've got that side in. Just lay that right on the cables. Really, really nice. And that's all we need to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and put e-liquid on the top and then we'll fill it. And then I'm going to drip some on the mesh and then we're going to go ahead and pulse. Because we want to make sure that the cotton underneath that coil is very saturated, especially for mesh. This is very, very important, especially for mesh. So we want to make sure that it's very, very saturated, and you're going to see it saturating the outside as well. Very, very important, so that you don't have a mesh dry hit. If you do it correctly, you will not have any. There we go. And then I'm just going to wet the ends. This is only for the first time. After that, you won't have to worry about it because the capillary action with the steel rods is actually going to go ahead and bring up that liquid, but we don't have any in there yet. So what I'm going to do now is just put on the cap so we can fill it, because like I said, you don't want to fill it with it open like this. If you do, that plug does come out or can come out. So we're going to put it on with the lid. That way we know that it's going to be securely in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that like that. And then all you need to do is when you push in your bottle, it will open up so that you can fill it. And this does hold 7 mils of e-liquid, which is a great amount. Look how fast that's filling. See? And I'm not getting any liquid back or any problems like that. So just go ahead and fill that up. Take your bottle out. No mess, no fuss, and no dripping. So now before you vape it, you're going to make sure that that arrow is lined up with that arrow. And that means that your airflow is now lined up with your coils. See? And that's what it looks like. So let's go ahead. That's pretty much it. So that is the Expromizer TCX by Exvape. So let's go ahead and go on top. We're going to have a vape. We're going to talk on it, pros and cons. Okay, so here we are back on top with the Expromizer TCX by Exvape. Again, designed in Germany. Very, very excited for it. I absolutely love the design of it and the whole look of it. But let's go ahead and have a vape and let's see what we get. Smooth, cloudy. I'm actually going to bump it up. This is the coil that's good between 50 to 70 watts. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to 60 watts. Amazing flavor. So before anything, let's go ahead and see if this thing can wick up. We're going to go ahead and have a couple of vapes and just back to back. So let's do it. It's wicking up efficiently. Loving the 6 rods. Now you can use 4. It's going to wick just as efficiently. If you just want the 4, they do offer you the plug. So that's going to be pro number 1. Pro number 2 is going to be the fact that they provide you with 2 mesh coils, but they do offer other coils if you're interested in them, like I showed you down below. I did use the dual mesh because, well, I'm Wendy. That's pretty much it. Now, another huge pro to this that some others did not have, which was really lacking to me, is the side fill. I love the side fill method. Again, you do want to make sure that you're filling it with the cap on or the chamber on because of the fact that it's holding that plug in place. Yes, the plug can come out, but if you're doing it like I showed you down below, you're not going to have any issues. I've filled this thing up so many times, never had an issue with that plug. It takes any of my bottles. It doesn't matter if it's a chubby, if it's a skinny, it doesn't matter. It goes really nice in there and you get no leaking. I've had no leaking on it when I'm pulling the bottle out. It stays pretty much dry, and I like the fact that I don't have to take it apart to actually fill it. So that to me is definitely a huge pro. Another pro is the fact that it does hold 7 mils of e-liquid. 7 mils of e-liquid. That to me is I love a lot of e-liquid capacity. I don't like filling often, so I really like that it does that. Now, having those 6 rods in there, you might think that you're getting a little bit less, but you're really not, because those rods are actually soaking up that e-liquid just like if you had 4. It's not really taking up too much space in the bottom, so I don't want you to worry about that. Being that it does have a lot of cotton on the top, you want to make sure that the ends are very, very feathered out and thinned out, and then just lay it on top of the rods. Don't stuff it, just lay it on top of the rods. It's gonna wick up just perfectly and just efficiently. It works just beautifully. Now the top airflow, that to me, I really like. I like a lot of airflow, but it works. It really, really works. I think it's nice and smooth. They're 1.5 millimeter air holes. They're 1.5 millimeter holes, so it's really, really nice honeycomb. It's not like they're too small and too restrictive. It's got a restrictiveness to it, but not like mouth to lung restrictiveness. You know what I mean? So for those of you that don't like a lot of massive airflow, you would probably like this, to be honest. Now, another huge pro is that this does have the plugs to replace the rods. So if you don't want all 6, they do bring you 2 extra plugs so that you can go ahead and plug those holes, which I think is great that they thought about that. Just in case you don't want them. If you do, then don't worry about it. But if you don't want all rods, you can plug it up so that you're not having any type of leaking or anything else. Now with this, I get absolutely no leaking. I can hold it upside down for days. It doesn't bother me. It's not going to leak. Even if you take off this part, it still doesn't leak because there's no holes right there. So you get a lot of it's not leaking. It's not going to leak. So no leaking, that's another pro. Now there are a couple cons for me. The first con is going to be the fact that they didn't give you a spare glass. That to me is definitely a con. I don't know if the retail version will have it. Again, I do have the sample version, so I don't know what's going to be on the retail version. The next one is going to be the O-ring. The O-ring that attaches this bottom piece to the top. That right there, that O-ring, it just literally is laying in there. It's not in there securely. So that I would definitely say they need to go ahead and put a stronger O-ring on there. So when you're taking it apart, the O-ring isn't flopping all over the place. So that to me is definitely something that they need to address. The only other con that I have is I know that, you know, with the packages that I received with the extra coils, it gives the material type and it gives you the wattage range, but with the ones that come with it in the package do not have that information. So I'm hoping on the retail version they're actually going to put like a sticker or something on it to let you know exactly what the range is, the wattage range is, as well as the resistance and the material type. So those are the only things that I could really find on this. Otherwise, I've been really enjoying it. I do like my RDTAs now. Before it was RTAs and RDAs, and now I'm really starting to love RDTAs again, especially with the mesh. The mesh really makes a difference. So I do like that. You can use a regular coil if you want to. I prefer on this particular deck, the way that this is made, not to use a regular standard coil, but you can do it. It can be done. But other than that, I don't know what else to say. And all the machining on this, and other than that one O-ring, I think is really, really well made. The only other, it's not even a subjective con, but just something that I want to mention is when you first get it, everything might be a little bit tight, so you want to lube up those O-rings. So other than that, I mean, it's not a problem. I have e-liquid, I got to fill it up anyway, so to wet those O-rings, it really doesn't give me a problem. I absolutely love the look of it. I think it's got a really nice sleek look to it. They do come in 5 colors. I'm going to go ahead and leave the colors up here for you. So they've got the black matte, gunmetal, sandblast, brushed, which is this one, and the polished stainless steel, which is also really, really pretty. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for my review. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are to this. It does use that same type of ceramic plate, which I prefer in an RDT. Well, I prefer it in any type of atomizer that has mesh. I do like having the ceramic plate there to make sure that it's ensuring that the cotton is touching the mesh at all times. I do like the cotton that they provided, but personally, I still prefer my cotton squares. That's just my preference. If you watch any of my other videos that have mesh, you'll see that I use the cotton squares, and I've got some tutorials using it, and that is my preferred. I really like the cotton squares. I like the way that it's easy, you know, and it's just my preferred. There's nothing wrong with the cotton that they provide, and there's nothing wrong with the cotton that they give you. I just don't like that bunch of cotton for me personally, but it works fine. It's been working up efficiently with the ones that I'm using. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on this? I think it is sexy. Well, of course, with my sexy mouth, but I think it's sexy. It just works well. I love, love, love that fill port. That to me is top notch. Not having to take off everything and take it apart just to fill it, I think is definitely key for me. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, and don't forget to give me a like, because when you do give me a like, it helps me with the analytics and recommending my videos. And don't forget to share it. If you know anybody that's interested in the videos, go ahead and share it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.